Okay, can you guys? This is for real. We've been muted the whole time. Yeah, we gotta take it back. Muted. Hold on. Here we go. Fixed. All right, let's take it from the top. Hold on. Yeah, that was fun. Hold on. Let's go here. And let's go here. You're not. All right, and we're back. We're back. We're back. Thank you so much for watching the Relationshipping Show. I'm your host, LaDonna Raeh, and my co-host.
Hey, this is Lorenzo T. Hughes. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back.
Now you better be glad that we know how to take two, because for real, like earlier, there was no audio. But there's audio now. So just get over it, right? Right. And we had some really, man, you missed it. We were talking a whole bunch of stuff. But because we have show notes, we can always go back and tell you more. So we opened up this conversation about why certain jobs that are fun and creative are not well respected. And the reason being, there's a lot of reasons being, okay? We gave examples of those jobs, and Lorenzo talked about his journey building his practice. I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk for you, Lorenzo. I know you got this. I'm just giving a recap. But excuse me, your soft tissue recovery practice that you started and that you spent out countless hours in building, and that was respected as a real profession. But when you wanted to get into your passion, it was not so well respected. You know, oh, that little acting thing, right? Same thing with me. 20 years in the business. Well, doing plays. I have never been on a national commercial. I have never been I've never been a SAG, ACTRA, AFTRA, and none of the other unions. I've never been part of that, but you have. And when we break out to our families and we try to talk to them about doing these things, they don't necessarily respect it, unfortunately.
Sometimes that's how it comes off. I'm almost led to believe that maybe they don't even know that they come off kind of standoffish or doomsayerish
Or condescending.
condescending. When we share our excitement, in entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of going back, most of the people that are probably listening to me that are familiar with me from the last 20 years remember that I had a practice called the Myotherapy Clinic, where I specialized in clinical and orthopedic massage, manual, and exercise therapy. I started out working as a personal fitness trainer. Well, originally I started out acting first. Then I went to school, got a degree or a certification in personal fitness training. That was through Penn Valley College in Kansas City. Then maybe a few years later, when I got a degree in massage therapy. And it was interesting because I got the degree in massage therapy through acting. Let me tell you this story. So I was working in New York, and I can't remember what television show I was working on in New York. And we were all on break, and people were talking about, well, what are you gonna do after we wrap? After things expire. Whenever you're not working on the show. And everybody was like, well, was asking what did we do as that in between career. There were people that did the traditional waiting tables, working at hotels, and things like that. And then you had the personal trainers, but then there was a couple guys that were like, well, I'm a massage therapist. And I was sitting there, I was like, well, hold on, you a who? They said massage therapist. And at the time, now this was, oh man, I think I may have been in my late 30s. I didn't really know that men did massage therapy. Didn't really know it. And so I was like, massage therapy? I was like, Man, I'm like, so how much money do you make doing that? How'd you get into it? And they gave me the story. And when I
I'm
got
not
back
quite
home,
sure how to help you with
I got
that.
back home. I looked into some massage therapy programs. I looked into the money, looked at what it could do. Then I was like, hey, I could tack this on to my personal training practice because I was doing pretty well as a personal fitness trainer. So I went to school, put the acting on hold for a while because I was going to school. I had my practice. I was a dad. I was a husband. So trying to hold together school, family life, and a private practice, it was a little overwhelming, so something had to be put on hold, and it was the acting. But once I finished school, then I wanted to start my practice, went into starting my practice, and I wanted to build my practice so that it would sustain me when in between acting jobs. So built my practice up. I did pretty well at it. I had a practice in Olathe, Kansas. Moved from Olathe. Then I had one in Overland Park, Kansas. Then I kept one in Overland Park, Kansas, and I kind of moved one to what was that the 1605 building I think was on.
But Lorenzo, you talking about a real job though. People consider what you're doing, what you're talking about, a real job. Like if you were saying I'm going to my practice, they go, "Oh."
Right. Well, for those of you out there, yes, I kind of had a real job too, working nights because once again, I had to have a I had a family, so I had to have health insurance. So I had a part-time job working at UPS, and and I worked 4 hours a night at overnights so that we could have health insurance. Now these are the things that I had to do as a family man, but moving forward, no one really respected my practice or my entrepreneur mindset as much as they did having to get up late at night and go to work doing hard labor. It wasn't received as well as when you talk about having a job.
Thank you. Thank you. There it is. That's it right there. I was waiting. Wow. Okay, guys, calm down. Calm down. All right. You guys can call into us live at 312-357-5141 if you want to get in on this conversation. If you got a little job out there where you doing little videography and little filming and little rehearsing and little, as people want to belittle your stuff, what?
And that's the weird, interesting tag they want to put on what it is that you do. It always has to have little in
Yeah,
front of it.
little in front of like little Mo,
Your little acting
little
thing.
like we do our nicknames to our children. But
Right.
call in with your little self and call in, and this is a safe space for people with little jobs. So 312-357-5141.
Yeah, call in with your little comment.
Right, which which I love it. All right. So, again, last week we were talking about how heck, why do I keep forgetting what the show was about? The show was about how there are no heroes that look like us in the movies for real. So, we're always being saved by other people, and we have been okay with that until we woke up. It was like you ate from the apple and you realized that you were you were blessed.
And the thing is, to you guys that are listening, one of my biggest goals when I stand before an audience or I go onto a podcast or any type of live video is I like my goal is to try to bring awareness to people that I'm speaking before. Like, for example, when I started doing public speaking, I always considered myself a mindset speaker because I like to have conversations that challenge people's way of thinking. So whenever we come on these type of platforms, we encourage you to put your thoughts in the chat or comment because I want to not only see how I am challenging your way of thinking or your perspective, but I want you to challenge my perspective or my way of thinking. This is a learning process for all of us. So with this conversation, this is where I want to bring it to. I want to challenge your way of thinking. I want you to just try to see where how I'm seeing things as an entrepreneur. Like I had mentioned before, whenever you're a child, right, especially little boys, we're always seeking that validation. It's the same even when we
Just the boys, just the boys.
maybe I've never been a girl before, so I can't speak for the young ladies, but with little boys, we're always seeking validation. That's why we're always like, "Mommy, Daddy, look at my muscles. Mommy, Daddy, watch me run. Mommy, Daddy, watch me do this flip. Watch me do this. Watch me, watch me, watch me." Because we want to impress. And see, like there's a relationship between father and son, even with daughters too. We want they know that we want to see them do impressive things, and even as adults we still seek that validation. When you accomplish a goal, you want to share that with people. Hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I've done, look at what I've accomplished. But you get those condescending responses like, oh, so how's that little blank doing? How's that little videography job you doing? Oh, you doing your little video thing? Oh, you doing your little massage thing? Oh, you doing that? Oh, how you doing your little speaking thing? Okay, yeah. I never heard nobody say, "How's that little UPS job going?" So
I have.
you hear these type of comments, and they really rub you deep. They really rub you deep. If you've never been a business owner, you're probably not going to understand why that feels so insulting. You're not going to understand. If you've never done something or experienced something, you're probably not going to understand. When we say it feels very insulting when you take something, a big accomplishment that we may have had, and you belittle it or break it down to just a little XYZ.
So there are some misconceptions why people dismiss acting and branding as real work. Common stereotypes about how actors are just having fun or being creative and anyone can do it. It's not a real job, have to be broken tonight. Like it starts tonight. Now, the realities are the dedication time and the skill involved in acting and other jobs, other professions. I'm just using that as an example. It takes a long, lengthy time to get it right. You think that it's easy to act like a certain character or person or be on a film set or hold a mic the perfect way and to have so many takes and go through editing and makeup and hair. All of that seems like fun, but it's not fun for me to sit and get my nails done at all. You look at my nails, they are all natural, and I love it like this for now because I don't feel like sitting there getting all dialed up. But it still takes a lot of work and dedication in order to make it look good on the screen. Now, there's also strategic planning involved, creativity. I cannot create on demand. I do graphic design. I explained earlier when you all couldn't hear me because the mic was muted, but that's the last time I'm going to mention that faux pas. Um, if I spent so many years in school, obviously college. I went to school for CIS and media communications. Okay, you put those two together, and that's like my strength. But I'm still a creative person because of it. My wheels get to turning when you give me an idea or I come up with one, and I cannot create on demand. Now, if I have to, and my life depended on it, yeah, maybe. But that is still a lot of work, and people think because you're creating it and you're imagining it and you're a visionary and you're drawing it out, mapping it out, and putting together a storyboard that you must be having so much fun. But when you don't ask them for financial help and you're still able to take care of your responsibilities, chances are you are working it as a real profession, okay, and not a hobby. So it's very important that people understand that when they respond to what you do, that it matters. Now, my family, my mother, my father, for some reason they claim that they don't know what the hell I do for a living. Okay. Yeah. As long as they don't think it's something like, I don't know, streetwalker. But they claim, I don't know what you do. And it was my mother. I remember 20 something years. I feel like it's been 25 years ago. My mother introduced me to a group of her friends and she said, "Tell them who you are." And I said, "LaDonna, I'm LaDonna." Like, I'm shy, but you don't know that. Nobody ever believes me when I say that, but I know how I feel. But I said, "I'm LaDonna." And she said, "No, tell them your name." And I'm thinking, does she want me to give them my whole government name? What is this? She said, "Anyway, tell them your name. It's LaDonna Raeh." And I was like, shocked, because that's my industry brand name. And my mother said, "Tell them who you are, LaDonna Raeh." And I was like, I felt like old girl on Hustle and Flow. "I'm LaDonna Raeh. I'm in charge." So it's like she gave me permission to brand myself. Cause see, my mother named me something different, but she gave me permission to rebrand myself, and I took it and ran with it. LaDonna Raeh was born, and what that means is when Halle Berry leaves out of the house and tells her family, "I'm going to work," or "I'm going to make an appearance," or "I'm going to MC or fashion show or be in a movie or write or script or rehearse," people don't question what she's doing because they see the fruits of her labor. But because my little acting and branding is the way that it is, I don't live in a mansion yet. I'll probably focus on it now. But my point is, they want to question what it is. What is that noise? Did you hear it?
Things sound good on my end.
You don't hear the noise, the chime? Okay, good. So then that's just on my end. But yeah, they won't question Halle Berry or Denzel Washington. And I know I'm no Halle Berry, but I am LaDonna Raeh. So yeah.
And they've reached a certain level of success. So I
Did you
can
say
see
Reg? You said
they've
Reg,
reached
but you said Reg.
they've reached a certain level of success. So to a degree, I can understand. I could see why people wouldn't challenge that, because then you have to challenge the success that they've. You'd have to challenge the success in which they're at that particular time, but you never think about what they had to go through to get to
That's
that
right.
level of success. Every wall starts with just one brick. Whenever you plant a seed, I can put an apple seed on this table right now. That doesn't make it a tree. It has to start somewhere before it can start producing apples.
That's a good one.
So, it what I would like to take a look at. Let's try to take a look at some of the reasons why that is. Why do people dismiss you when you plant the seed of like entrepreneurship or education or things like that? People try to dismiss it. And one of the ways I believe that usually or typically happens is because of the society that we have grown up in. Now, if you think about it, as kids, we're taught in school, even from our parents, we're taught to go to school, get an education, and to get a job.
I just over broke.
Right. Get your 9 to 5, and you're respected for working your tail to the bone at a 9 to 5, and you're respected for that. And I'm not knocking people who have 9 to 5s,
But they're helping somebody else build their little dream.
and they are. You're helping someone. You're right. Build their little dream, because at some point in time, they were just a dream before, and they started out with just one brick. But it's interesting because in our culture, that's what we're taught. But when you look at other cultures, like when you look at the East Indian culture and you look at the Asian cultures, they're taught to go to school, to get an education, and to start a business.
And get more education.
And to get more education. This is what they're taught. We see it in their culture. And the interesting thing about it, when they come to our countries, when we talk about, oh man, Why do they have all these businesses? How do they have businesses in the hood? How do they establish, get all the gas stations, the hotels,
Mm.
you know, the Chinese restaurants they have? When you look at this dynamic and we start to wonder why that is, we have to look at how we were taught. We were taught to go to school, get an education, and get a job, not to start a business,
We were taught to be consumers.
to be consumers.
Yeah.
So we have to change that mindset and try to mimic that mindset. We can learn from what it is that other cultures do by changing that way of thinking.
Now, there are so many, there's a list of professions and more than the list that I have that often face scrutiny because they don't align with traditional notions of what real work looks like. And that's because they are not tied to structured hours, steady paychecks, or corporate settings. Now, these roles are essential still in society because they're entertaining, they have their own unique ways of being essential. And highlighting their value can help challenge these stereotypes, but it doesn't necessarily reach everyone. So here's some examples, right? We've got well, let me go back. Musicians, artists, content creators, and influencers, freelance writers and bloggers. Now, now some people actually think that wait staff and bartenders is not really a real job, but they kind of respect it because they do see you working and serving others. Okay, so we'll skip over that potential one, but a stay-at-home parent is a thankless job right there. But that's real work. I mean, that's real work. Man, you'll go get a job just to get away from them
I
kids.
never knew what that was. I had a couple women in my practice that used to come see me in. And I remember when they used to fill out their intake form, and I would look at in the slot labeled, employment, type of employment, they would put in their homemaker.
Hmm.
And I think the first two or three times that I saw it, I didn't, I was thinking, okay, they clean houses or clean homes or whatever. I didn't know what this was. And remember, now granted, this was my late 30s, maybe early 40ish, maybe.
Oh boy.
Didn't know what a homemaker was. So I said, I, I couldn't help but notice that you put homemaker in the employment slide. I said, if you don't mind, what exactly is that? Say, oh no, I'm a housewife. I take care of the, I cook, I clean, keep that. And I was like, oh.
Hmm.
And then you think about it, it is hard work.
Yeah.
I've been a single dad.
Yeah.
It's work.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock that. I'm not gonna knock that at all as a job.
Please don't.
I'm not even knocking that as that's work.
Yeah. Well, there's another list of professions that people don't respect, like freelancers. That's seen as not stable and just a side hustle. And it kills me when I tell people that I have my own business and that I do marketing and they say, "Oh, that's your side job." And I'm like, "No, that's my all the way around 360 job." Okay. Rideshare drivers. Sometimes people feel like Uber and what's the other one? Dang. Anyway, there's another one. There's Uber, Lyft. Okay, yeah. Uber and Lyft is just a casual hustle when you need to cash out or something. I don't know what that is, but I think that's an actual job. Um, and these are starting to sound more and more like 1099 jobs that are not respected because DJs is on there, virtual game streamers and esports players. These people that play games are getting paid to play games. And earlier we mentioned small business owners and multi-level marketing representatives. So those people that are involved in Legal Shield and there's another one that I always hear about, Primerica. Those are actual professions, but people don't respect them like they should. And there's more, but I'll wait.
And again, I'm not gonna disrespect the person that enjoys their 9 to 5. That's working toward a pension and retirement and things like that. If that's what you enjoy, hey, I've had jobs that I've enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
and that I've worked.
Like what?
I taught massage therapy for a college, enjoyed it to death.
Yeah,
But
but you were a teacher, though.
what it did was it gave me the opportunity to get up in front of people and speak.
But you were a teacher. That's not unrealistic to look at as a job. You taught at a
I
college.
just told you I had a job.
Oh, okay, my
You
bad.
said doing what?
No,
That
you
is a
said
job.
that you
I
enjoyed.
had to go clock in.
Okay. Wait, you had to clock in. What?
Teachers do clock in. They do
I
have
didn't have to clock in as a teacher.
So a teacher, what hours is? Put in the chat if you are an educator or a teacher. What are your hours? What time do you have to be there, and what time are you expected to leave?
I had to be there at 9 o'clock, and
So
I didn't clock in.
so that we got some clarification on that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go whenever you want to go?
Well,
Do you
no.
take off when you want to?
Well, no.
So put that in the chat. But yeah, I taught, which I enjoyed that job. The
What else?
when I worked at FedEx, when I worked in quality assurance, I enjoyed that position.
Why did
You
you
know,
enjoy? Why did you enjoy that
I
position?
enjoyed quality assurance because it was almost as if it was a managerial job. So I didn't. I was kind of at the same level as a lot of the managers were. So I had the freedom to work at my own pace.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
I
you
could
had the
walk
freedom to tell
around.
people what to do.
I could walk around and kind of I could step away from my desk and go walk around and look for spills and stuff like that, and address spills. So I had the freedom to move around and kind of change my work at my own pace. So I wasn't the demands on the package handlers weren't the same with the position that I had.
Okay.
So that those 9 to 5.
What else?
I enjoyed. I did work for a Massage Envy. I worked for Massage Heights.
Oh, I bet you enjoyed that.
I did to a degree. The thing with those institutions is, like, for example, in my practice, I only worked on 5 clients a day. 5 clients. When you work for a Massage Heights or a Massage Envy, you talking about trying to have you doing 10 to 15 people a day, which is taxing on the body. We talking about 8 to 12 hours of work, and it's very taxing.
Do you end up working your own muscles when you do that? Does it?
Oh no, it when you this is what we don't understand when you work in like a 9 to 5, even if it's massage therapy or package handling or doing any type of hard labor. It's taxing on the body over time. If you look at people who during retirement they got bad knees, bad backs, bad necks, bad wrists, fingers, they got deformities, from working a job 25, 30, 40, 50 years. It's very taxing. It's what's referred to as repetitive motion injuries. And they go unaddressed. That's why you have these weird postures, disorders, and deformities. I don't want to really call them deformities, but deviations in the muscular and skeletal system. So I saw these a lot in my practice. I can't. Is my mic going in and out? I think it is. I can't even hear myself.
Yeah. Someone so Zach's hi. Shout out to Zach's. He said, "Am I manually adjusting your mic?" But can you go ahead and talk?
But I can't hear anything.
All right. Let's try now. Say something.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear it now.
All right. Was it going in and out the whole time?
Yeah, I started doing it probably maybe 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Not sure why. All right. What about now? Zach's, go ahead and text me and let me know what's up. He said, yes, you're in and out. So your setting might be on noise cancellation. Can you check your settings?
On YouTube?
No. Oh, let me check your settings. Nope. Thank you for that. Zach, you can
Thanks,
call in
Zax.
too. Try it
Appreciate it.
again. Try and talk again.
Thank you, Zax. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate you dropping your thoughts in the comments.
All right. What about now?
So we always encourage people to you know uh drop your thoughts in the comments. Call in if you want.
Yeah. 312 357 5141. And I think you should be good. Say something, Lorenzo.
Mic check, mic check.
Yeah,
How's that sound, y'all?
that's better. I
Sound
could hear
good.
you the whole time though. Yeah. All right, keep going.
Where was I?
So you were getting to you were talking about your practice.
No, I done lost. I didn't got distracted.
No
I done,
distractions
I done
here.
forgot where I
And
was at
and
with that
see
conversation.
and see podcasting is also on the list of professions that people don't respect. And you see what's involved, right? There's technical issues, there's sound,
That's
there's
sure.
there's making sure that the lighting is right, the sound is right.
But
Yeah, that whole thing.
but kind of going back, to our conversation, is moving forward. It's like how do we change that mindset of making becoming an entrepreneur popular? What makes entrepreneurship so unpopular?
Mm.
Because when you look at entrepreneurship, people just don't realize the money invested into education, equipment, tools, trying to, if you have a brick and mortar,
Hold on. Go
uh,
ahead.
trying to have a brick and mortar, the time and money that it takes to put into trying to accomplish these type of dreams and these type of goals.
Mhm.
It's I don't understand how we have been conditioned to the point that we don't celebrate people
Oh.
who have had the strength, they've had the endurance to break away from the traditional employment system, being
Mhm.
employed by someone. It's almost like breaking away from uh, uh, um,
Slavery?
of slavery. It's like escaping it. You escape
I
and
was gonna
then
say a toxic relationship.
even a toxic relationship. I agree with that. It's
Guys, you
like breaking away.
so that voice you hear, and you're like, where'd that come from? So we told you to call in 312-357-5141. Looks like we have caller number 3714. Hi, caller.
Really are good at that radio voice stuff. I mean, I get what you're saying for the most part, but well, just from what I've seen, I unfortunately I hate to sound pessimistic or I guess pragmatic, but it really just feels like it's in the category of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. There's a difference between trying to teach your mother or your father how to do something on a computer versus trying to teach your grandmother and grandfather how to do something on the computer. It's the same with entrepreneurial stuff because if you actually sit down and listen to them, a lot of people see it as someone trying to get away with essentially scamming somebody,
Mm.
being a bum and not having any life goals and just saying that so people get off their back. But here's the problem. A lot of that isn't even informed by a previous entrepreneur who just made it sound like they were being lazy or a bum. That's internalized. They literally just see them as lesser than because they're not doing something that they can comprehend. So if I say I have a job, you say you have a job. I say I'm a fireman. You say you're an entrepreneur. And it's like the 60s or the 70s and you're not rich. You just say, oh, you're an entrepreneur. They're going to look at you sideways. And that mindset doesn't go away even in today's time. Because depending on who you are or what you're entrepreneurial about, they don't care. Not to mention, like many words in the English language, unfortunately, TV and internet and pop culture warp definitions. On paper, on paper, entrepreneur just means someone who is willing to undergo a difficult task. That's basically the textbook definition. I'm not even messing with you right now. That's what it is on paper. But somehow it has now become a meaning of someone who is looking to create a business or some form of revenue based on a non-traditional format of business or engaging in the business practices. One of these things is obviously not like the other. So that's why it's kind of stuck in this weird little location. You're technically not a douche. You're not a con artist. You're not going into a pyramid scheme. But there's this view that there's some inherent stigma that none of us can control. None of us can control. It's just one of those situations where sometimes the old guard has to die out. Same with video games. I think I was maybe 2 years old the first time someone told me I'm going to turn into some like murderer or something from playing video games.
Oh, wow.
And literally there have been a good dozen or so studies scientifically proven to the point where some analytical companies just flat out say stop asking, proven that was always false. Nothing about it was true. And it just keeps getting perpetuated by ignorant people who just want to believe it for whatever reason they want to believe it at this point. So here we are in the year 2024, getting ready to go into 2025, and we still get people in every age bracket who just believe this stuff. Sometimes people just believe it because their parents told them, and sometimes parents just believe it because Fox News told you. Really? It's not going to change until they just die out. Yes, you can convince some to see the light, but there are many who just don't want to see it because they don't want to acknowledge their own wrongdoing. And sometimes it's just that simple.
I totally agree with you. And to kind of give you a story, this is interesting, and I think a lot of us even go through this. You can be great at what you do. You can make hundreds of thousands of dollars in your area of strength, in your talent, in your area of talent for someone else. But as soon as you break away to do the exact same thing on your own, then the stigmatism will still hit you. For example, let me give you a good example. When I was working for Massage Envy, I had people that loved me. Oh, they loved me. And I was in Massage Envy. This is how the chain works. They charge, I think it was like $85 for a 1 hour therapy session, but they would pay the therapist $12.50 of that session, right? Now, as a therapist, you're like, man, well, if I could make that on my own in my own practice, and I'm gonna tell you, we were cranking out. If you work 8 hours, you're probably gonna hit probably about I'm gonna say roughly 12 to 15 people that's gonna come in and pay that amount of money. So I was there. I think I stayed for maybe about a year and a half. But I had people who told me or promised me. They said, "Hey, well, if you leave, let me know because I'm gonna follow you and go wherever you go." So with confidence, I was like, "Well, let me go open up another practice, private practice, so then I don't have to work for any other franchise." So when I left, you would be amazed at how many of those people did not follow me. Even though I'm the same therapist under my own name, under my own practice, you're going to get the same. Matter of fact, I moved closer. I opened up a practice in the urban core, closer to them. And I brainstormed trying to figure out what and why that was. I was wondering, do they just like to be able to say that, hey, I'm a member at this particular franchise in this particular area of town? Because not only would I have been saving them the drive time, but I was closer and I was able to negotiate their rates. And that's the interesting part. You are the same person. You have the same skill, the same profession on your own that you would be bringing to another company or another franchise that's paying you a wage, opposed to someone paying you, out of
Directly.
their pocket
Yeah,
directly.
directly.
You have the same skill and the same talent. You're gonna put out the same results, but that entrepreneur strategism that you have to try to use to convert people over to break away from the franchise mindset or the corporate mindset to come work with you independently.
Yes. So there's overall when we put this this thought process together with having the stigma of working for yourself, having an enjoyable job, having a job that people just don't necessarily respect, it does minimize people. It can minimize your confidence, and it can also make that person feel like they have something to prove. But it can also be a form of hating that you have the freedom to do what your passion is. And I'll take them all because at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's best for me and my family. So I hear these stories. Okay, let's go back. Tyler Perry was homeless. What's her name was homeless. We have a lot of homeless conversations or people that started off that way, but because you didn't start off that way and work your way to the point of being astronomically wealthy, people just don't believe your journey is real. However, if you are at a stage in your life where you already have children, then I'm not going to risk it all just so I can go through the journey of having a story to tell. You know what I'm saying? I can't risk it all. I got to kind of start from here. I may have to dabble. I may have to have a job to pad when my business ain't making no money. Because you can't tell your kids, well, my clients didn't pay me this month. So the other risk factor is when you have your own business, you risk the ability to get paid regularly. It's not that you don't want to do the work regularly or you work when you want to. It is that you put out a proposal. They like your proposal. They may drag their feet on your proposal. They may drag their feet on paying your invoice. Whereas a company has an HR department. You work, you get paid. They hold 2 weeks when you first start working, they hold 2 weeks so that you'll have that 2 weeks and they can do what they need to do in deducting. But when you work for yourself, it's all about, if I don't make these calls, if I'm not making this meeting, if I don't go to this networking event, if I'm not passing out my cards, if I'm not increasing my visibility, if I'm not marketing my business for real, nobody will know what I do.
Yeah.
And that deserves respect. I think all of us on the phone can speak to that because what we do, it takes all of that. And also, if someone comes to me and says, I want to change the branding of my organization or my business. And I say, okay. And I ask all these questions because this is what I was taught in school and it just works. I ask all these questions so I can get an idea so that when I start creating, what's my man's name that taught us how to paint with the afro? Forgot his name.
Bob Ross.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm not a Bob Ross. I can't just start painting and dabbling and going, you know what? That's the sun. I have to ask questions and get an idea of what your brand is going to look like or what it needs to look like or what needs to change. And then I can start, you know what I'm saying? But it took me 20 something years to create your for real.
And I want to say this too. If there's some young people out there that are listening, one of the things that I did is because I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I think I went into entrepreneurship. I think I was, I'm going to say 16, 17 ish. I was teaching. I had my brown belt in Chinese kickboxing from the Omaha Karate School, and I started teaching for the Omaha Public School District on the weekends for a youth program. And then I think I did some stuff for like domestic violence, a couple of domestic violence organizations, and I was teaching martial arts. That was my. I started out doing that. Then I went to photography as time went on. Started doing photography. What I've learned as time went on, as I tried to, from learning, from watching my instructor teach classes to watching other photographers and working for free with other photographers and just working for other franchises and other businesses. This is what I would like to encourage young people to do. I know I've heard from a lot of young people they don't like working for anybody. I totally understand it. But this is one of the things you may want to take a look at. I would encourage you to find a job that's close to what you think you would enjoy doing. Work that job and pay attention to how they do business. Pay attention to how they manage the business. Pay attention to learn how they do marketing. If you can go into even management, work your way up into a management or assistant management, learn how to manage, a staff of people. Because what that is that's free education. Well, that's paid education. Look at it as a form. Don't look at it as a job per se, but look at it as the time you spend on that job as education. Because what you can do with everything you learn on that job, you can take those practices into your own business or your own practice, because they're a business because of something that they did right. And you want to learn that. So don't think of it so much as a job or hard labor, but think of it as a time to educate yourself. Go in, look at how they do their marketing, look at how they manage their staff. If the managers are abusive, then you know what not to do. The managers that are encouraging and they soft spoken and they know how to speak to you properly, then you know how that feels. See, one of the beautiful things about customer service is everybody has experience in customer service because we know how we like to be treated. So when I talk to people in the past, when I've spoke to people about customer service, I've always explained to them that we should be experts in customer service because we know how we like to be treated when we go into a business. We know how we like to be greeted. We know how we like to be served, and we know how we don't like to be greeted and don't like to be served. So you do the things that make you feel good when you're providing customer service. But you got to take it beyond just customer service. How do you provide that service, and how much effort you put into making that business or making that business successful and making yourself successful as a good customer service provider or a good provider overall. And it's a practice. You use that job to practice your ability to be a business owner. And you take that. Like I said in the beginning, yes, we weren't taught to go to school, get an education, and start a business. We were taught to get jobs, but you can take that job and learn from it. Use it as a tool. Use it as an educational tool.
And don't worry about what people say about your job. So I've got a list of some statistics. You're watching Relationshiping with LaDonna, Raeh, and Lorenzo T. Hughes. And we have our caller, Mr. Zax, is on the line. Thank you so much for calling in. Now, some of the economic impact, according to NASA Arts, in the United States in 2022, arts and cultural production added over $1.1 trillion to the U.S. economy, representing 4.3% of the GDP and supporting 5.2 million jobs. That's huge. Okay, so those of you that were saying your little job, yeah, it was about 5.2 million of them. Global perspective, according to UNCTAD, the creative economy's contribution to the GDP varies worldwide. ranging from 0.5% to 7.3%, employing between 0.5% and 12.5% of the workforce. How's that for little job? Okay. And then, of course, public perception. Let's go to the UK. The Scottish Sun says a survey revealed that 45% of the UK adults believed careers in the arts are not viable, despite 3.5 million people being employed in this sector. Yeah, public perception. And then, of course, the U.S. says 61, that's the Americans for the Arts, 61% of workers agree that increased creativity enhances job success, yet only 51% feel their community has equal access to the arts. Mm, mm, mm.
Sounds about right.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So we have to basically, it goes back to not to thrive off of the lack of validation. You have to give yourself validation no matter what you're doing. If you're loving what you do and you're making that money and it's taking care of your needs, because everyone's definition of success is different. And there lies the miscommunication. So what you feel is successful may not be successful to someone else. If you've arrived at your goals, you are successful. And if you're on the path of your goals, then you're reaching your objectives so that you can get to your goals. Now, there's some funny comments that have been made about different groups of industry. So for actors, some people may say, oh, you just play pretend all day. But here's some comebacks for you, okay? You can say, hey, because memorizing pages of dialogue and pulling off emotional scenes and surviving endless auditions is so easy. Tell them that, okay? How about in California, someone may say, you're an actor, but what restaurant do you work at? And you can say, the classic assumption that every actor moonlights as a waiter. Okay, sometimes it's true, but still, really? That's old. Okay, let's move on to public speakers. So you just stand up there and talk, right? Sure. Because captivating an audience for 30 minutes without losing them is exactly like chatting with your dog. Duh. Okay. And then anyone can give a speech. This one's fun. I like this one. You can always come back with, cool. Then you hop your happy ass on stage in front of 500 people with no notes, no nerves, and no sweat. Now wait. I like that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's lovely.
I love that one.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Zax, you might like this one. For eSports players, someone may ask you, so when you gonna go get a real job? You can respond, and I'm saying this emphatically. Go ahead and say, probably right after I finish this $500,000 tournament. Hold my joystick. You gotta love it.
Oh man, that one was nice.
Yeah, nice.
You know, you know, I'm at a loss of words. It's, you know, because I was listening to what you were just saying, and I was trying to figure out. I don't even think I can think of a moment where I didn't feel inclined to celebrate someone who decided to take on the challenges of independence, or, you know, being an entrepreneur. Because when I meet people who, even if they're just starting out, and it could be because I know the journey, you know, I have the bumps and the bruises of what it takes to take on such an endeavor. I know what it feels like to not have the encouragement, the backing, the celebration, you know, the celebrations that come with success. I know what it feels like not to get, you know, a medal or a ribbon for those accomplishments. You know, you almost feel like people didn't want you to succeed. It almost feels that way. Even though they may silently be celebrating you or respecting you for the accomplishment, what they don't understand is not only just the challenges that it take to do something such as, you know, becoming an entrepreneur or working independently, but it's the loneliness that comes with, you know, taking on the challenge, because it's a lonely journey. You are alone, and it's even just trying to build a team to help you. It's having the ability and the thick skin to be rejected most of the time. Majority of the time, it's being able to have that thick skin to be rejected. You know, having those moments to where you want to cry if you haven't cried in the dark or cried alone.
Men cry in the dark.
You know, so it's that part of loneliness that people don't think about. And I'm almost wondering, you know, are we just a society that
Of haters?
is comfortable with hating on other people? We're comfortable with seeing people in pain. We're comfortable with that. You know,
What kind
we're
of
comfortable
question is
so
that?
much.
You already know the answer.
Yeah, we're
yes.
almost. Yeah, it's
Unfortunately, yes.
it's almost like we find joy in, you know, inserting the knife really slow on someone.
Yes,
And
this
and
is legitimately true.
Right.
You asking the question, but you know the answer.
Right.
We suck.
right.
That's
You
how
know?
it is. We suck. You do well. Someone doesn't. Even if they can't backstab you, they're mad that you're doing better than them, even if they're not going down the same path. This shit don't change. That's why casting direction is easy for me, because I'm a very unique hater. I only hate you when you screwing up, and you do it consistently. And as long as you doing that, I am going to continue to hate you. But it's not malicious hatred. It's not, ew, I don't like the way she said that line, or I don't like how her face looks for an overall or something. No, there are people that do that. Do not get me wrong. I know for a fact, because I used to work for them, and I hate them too. No, it's the people who think because they showed up and they did well one time, they're entitled to something down the line, or that I am somehow now their manager or their agent or their representative, and it is my job specifically as an individual to place them above all others in the, almost at 700 different talents I have in my network queue. And you make it easy to hate when you do that. But no, I am a unique situation. That's how I do business. Everybody else, no, it's either pettiness, it's nepotism, the legal kind and the illegal kind, because people keep forgetting, depending on the context, nepotism is actually a crime. And they will sit there, be perfectly fine. And I think it was Sabrina Carpenter and that one who I keep getting her mixed up with, the one who was in that Spider-Man movie, who is in everything right now. Oh, yeah, Sydney Sweeney. They said it point blank. Half of the women who claim that they're on the side of females aren't actually on the side of females. They just want to claw over one or the other just so they can get ahead of somebody else. Or once they see someone doing well, they immediately get jealous and don't want to build up as a team, and they want to just tear each other down unless they're the ones on top. And it is so true. And it's not out of desperation. Sometimes people want a job that their personality should not get.
And some people may have some inferiority complexes that they're dealing with, and they will throw you under the bus.
Yes, it is
just
the
to make
oldest stereotype
themselves,
ever.
just to make
Yes.
themselves look so
So accurate.
great.
Yes, like it's the hourglass girl is the most hated girl, and the skinny girl who's had Napoleon complexes, insecurities that have nothing to do with Little Miss Hourglass, decides that Little Miss Hourglass is now the projection of everything she hated in life. I have friends that I've had to sit down and tell in online and offline, listen, you have haters. You didn't do anything wrong. They're not going to go away if you play nice with them. Stop trying to placate stupid people. Once you stop trying to placate stupid people, it's like a weight gets lifted off of your chest. I swear, a burden goes away. And she was the nicest girl. All she does as a hobby, not professionally, she likes to play dress up. Because let's be honest, we all can call off a billion women who like to play dress up. She likes to play dress up as a hobby, but she does costume designs from popular shows, and she's really good at it. However, she filled out nice, and her face ain't bad either. And during the Halloween, literally from like close to November 2nd to yesterday, she has been getting somebody who has been mass reporting almost anything she's put up on Instagram, specifically the same images. Someone literally created a hate campaign for her. Despite her never getting into fights at conventions, her name has never been brought up at anything negative. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Somebody's mad that their boyfriend is looking at her. That's all that is. I've seen it a billion times. That's all that is. And instead of just going, hey, I know you like her, but, don't obsess over her, which is, that's nothing wrong with saying that. It doesn't make you look weak or insecure. Didn't even do that. They just decided, I'm going to keep hitting the report button because, as we all know, Instagram doesn't give a shit about reports. What they actually do is let a machine try to guess within 2.3 seconds, and then you are allowed to rebut what the machine says. But guess what? It's not going to matter if it keeps getting mass reported, because a lot of these companies don't even have people look at it if it gets mass reported. They just take it down because they don't want to see somebody report it again. So she's had to back up almost the entirety of her social media footprint on Instagram on a secondary website. And it took me almost 2 hours in a conversation to get her to realize, listen, pay very close attention. People hate you. And she said the stereotypical things that a lot of women say to me when I tell them this. But there are so many other women that are much more beautiful than me. Shut up and get a new response. I would be less offended if they would give me a new response. And then I go, yes, that's nice. It doesn't matter. You're the target, though. You're the one with the target on your back. And you don't have a giant following and fan base who are going to magically descend on anyone hating on you and then ruin their lives, and then they end up regretting it, okay? You're small. You're in Alabama. You're in the middle of nowhere, and you hate most of the dudes you're around because, well, let's just say they enjoy the pumpkin and chief. I get it. But it doesn't matter if some girl all the way in North Carolina or Nebraska, of all places, who's 5'1", people mistake for a 10-year-old little boy when she's 30, sees that her boyfriend likes your stuff, or hell, might not even know that they're biologically related, and decides they're going to try to ruin your entire concept of being on social media. It blows my mind how many people just don't register. You don't actually have to put in effort to get a hater. You don't.
Oh, I know this.
No.
Absolutely. Someone will come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I love your energy. Love it. And then the next thing you know, if there's a slip of the tongue, because see, I'm very direct, and I say what you were thinking, and I realize something. They're not mad at you. They're mad it's you. So you just have to move on. Okay.
One of the tools to success, and I'm not just in entrepreneurship, but just in life in general, is that you have to be comfortable with being hated. You have to start becoming comfortable with that, because people aren't going to
accurate statement right there.
Yeah, they're not. People aren't going to like you for a lot of different reasons. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to start to name things. I'm not even going to start to name any of them, because there's a lot of different reasons why people aren't going to like you.
But it's not fair.
It's not fair. But we have to become comfortable with people not liking you. Some people are going to come off as not liking you because they know that you're entertaining. They know that you're doing something that they can't do. See, it's like
envy.
And it is. It's like, for example, if we were stepping into the blocks on a track and we're going to run, there's 8 of us. There's 8 lanes. You're going to have people who are going to start out running. Bam. They in a full sprint. You're going to have people who are still in the blocks. You're going to have people who are going to stand up and they're going to be running in place. You want to be the person that's running, actually moving toward the finish line. And one of the things we have to remember when you decide to be a leader in whatever it is that you decide to do, that means you're taking action. You're moving forward. You're moving toward the finish line. You're not still in the blocks. You're not standing up, running in place, but you are running toward the finish line. When you're in the lead of any race, you're usually alone, right? The person who's in first place, he's alone in the race. So you have to think of it that way. And those people who are still in the blocks, those people who are running in place are going to have some type of feeling about you. They're going to have some type of you can't justify it. You have to focus on what it is that you're trying to accomplish or what it is your goal is, and that's to make it to that finish line or to stay out front. Sometimes I think we make the mistake of want to be included, and we don't want to be alone, that we do ourselves a disservice by trying to fit in with the people who are still in the blocks. We try to fit in with the people who are running in place.
Selling out. The word you're looking for is selling out.
Selling out. And it hurts us in the long run because years go by and you wonder why you never made it to the finish line, why you're so good at working for someone. You know, why you've gotten employee of the month 4 years in a row. You're the top employee. You got all the recognition. You've never missed a day on the job. You got all kind of vacation time, sick time, and you never wonder why you made it to the level of what you could have been. You got comfortable with the $100,000, $150,000 a year gig when you could have been doing more.
And complacency.
On your own, out front, leading the pack. And it's like we have to like I said, again, I'm not knocking those people who enjoy them. Look, I'm all for you working a job or doing the things that you enjoy. If you're at a place that you enjoy, there's nothing better than being happy, engaging in something, a form of labor where you're generating a lifestyle, revenue. If you're happy doing what it is you do, by all means do that, because happiness is the goal. But it's the person that's not happy where they're at that I always have feelings for.
Misery has or loves company. Misery loves
Okay.
company.
Oh, yes. I totally agree with that. So, with that said, I just want to challenge some people. If you have thought about it, you've thought about entrepreneurship, you thought about being independent. Talk to those people who you may have ignored in the past. When you go back and talk to them to see how they're doing, ask them how their business is going. So how's business going? Ask them, is there anything I can do to help? Because a lot of times a referral is all we're looking for.
Oh man.
You know what my daughter told me? She said she don't want anything for Christmas. She want people to buy into her business. That's what she want her Christmas gift to be. I was like, that was what she said she's putting. Matter of fact, she sent me the messenger link to buy into her business for Christmas that she's been sending out to everyone. So that's what I'm saying to those people who are listening live and that may be catching the replay. That's one of the biggest gifts you probably can give an entrepreneur is to buy into their business or to send them some referrals.
Yeah. So basically, if you're out here grinding, okay, in a creative career, or you're feeling like you're being dismissed or ridiculed, here's what you need to remember. The world needs people like you. The arts, the stories, your story, inspiration, anything that you create. That's what people turn to when they're bored, they're sad, they want to laugh, or even just looking for hope. So don't let anyone who doesn't understand your vision make you make doubt in your mind. I mean, what do you think, Lorenzo?
I agree with you. I agree with you. You know, on the other side of fear is success. We under w- for those of who have taken on any form of independence, man, we're terrified. As long as I've been an entrepreneur, whenever I take on something new, I'm excited and I'm scared at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of that fear is your blessing is on the other side of that fear. That's where your blessing is on the other side of fear. When you meet someone who is an entrepreneur, you have to understand that they have taken on so many fears. They have died so many deaths
For real.
that you just have to go speak to one, and you have to understand that that's why investing in or buying into someone's business, just going in, if someone has opened a restaurant or they've opened a brick and mortar, go into their business and just take a look and see what you see. Sometimes we need you to even come in to go in and watch one of our videos and just do a critique. Give us a critique on what you thought. Because at the time, we have planted a seed. When you plant like I mentioned before, a seed is not a tree until you give it the proper environment for it to grow. You got to give it the proper environment for it to grow. Meaning that when I plant the seed of entrepreneurship, I need the proper environment for me to grow. Meaning that I have to start doing my marketing and my branding, and I have to have the environment of customers buying into my practice for me to even grow. And that's one of the biggest things that's what I feel like one of the biggest reasons for this particular topic is to create that growth, so that, you know, people that have the misperception that what we do is not work, it is more work than what you imagine it to be. It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work.
Labnificent says that they always focus on the outcome and never the input, investment, or assistance that it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
So true. And this is because a lot of times they don't know what that is. They don't know what it takes to get to where you are. You walk into a beautiful establishment and everything looks so easy. Well, guess what? Somebody did their job. That means that they put the blood, sweat, tears, and the research in and the financial investment to make it look easy. That's what we do. Okay. So, like when my clients come to me about marketing, my job is to come up with a strategy, identify their target audience, and understand the product. And I make it look easy, but I'm over here tearing my hair out most of the time because things change, trends change, budgets change.
I'm pretty much in the same boat. But it annoys me more because mine isn't based off of, necessarily getting attention. I get to do what I do primarily. I ain't gonna lie. I am easily fueled by hate. It's not that, oh, I'm petty, I have to show you up because you said I couldn't do something. Mm-hmm. That dies off after a while. My hatred spurs me to inspiration just due to the fact that once you deal with, and I'm going to bring them up every time I'm on the show probably, once you deal with a certain number of idiots, you kind of reach the proverbial limit break for you FF7 fans out there. And you have to sometimes meticulously explain to people how wrong they are about how things work. Now, casting direction is not something I planned on doing full time. So the fact that I do it part time is kind of sort of a miracle because I've learned very quickly I hate doing networking for big companies. Because I'm going to tell you right now, everybody who says they're going to call someone's people and they're going to get in contact, they're lying. What actually happens is they assign it to somebody under them to try to find whatever's publicly available. And if it's not publicly available, call up a bunch of major talent networks and say, hey, listen, who represents this person? Then you find that person, and there's a 70% chance they're a lazy bum who is only self-serving. So what happens is You have something that the client will want to do, that the talent will want to do, but because their representative feels like they'll only get like maybe 8,000 out of it, because they get a set percentage, that they're not going to want to do this. Like, no. They want to do this. You just don't like it because it's not $1 million film roll, $100,000 gig that nets you, 10, 15 grand on the side. And they're never going to tell you that. And if you tell their people, whoever they represent that, they will blacklist you from the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I hate dealing with those people. But when I get these actors who come to me and say, well, your job's so easy, you got it easy because you don't have to deal with such and such and such and such and such and such. You only got to just find someone who sounds right. It's like, no, it's not. It's never been how it works. I have to, first off, have a client base that even wants talent. I don't make these roles magically appear out of nowhere. My name has to get some level of clout, or my name has to be attached to somebody. Almost anyone who's doing casting, directing full time, they're attached to somebody, or they're attached to a company that is attached to a entertainment organization of some kind. There is almost nobody who is an individual freelance casting director. They essentially don't exist because there's no way for you to exist, and it's not by choice or design. That's just how the industry is. A casting director is someone looks up online, or they go to their actual entertainment company that's funding their movie or project and say, I need talent. They're not just clicking up a yellow pages. Then after that happens, you got to talk to them about what they want. And 9 times out of 10, the people you're talking to, I don't care if they're a director or a producer, they can't use the proper words to describe what they want, so they use some adjective unilaterally or universally that doesn't even technically make a lot of sense based on what the requirements are. I've literally had someone tell me, I need to find a voice that's feathery but also raspy at the same time. That was their actual sentence. Feathery and raspy at the same time. Bro.
Like this?
Bro,
Does it
you will literally...
Jax, does it sound like this? Is this feathery and raspy?
No, that sounds like 5th grade little boy on a cartoon kid show. It's a very profitable voice. You hold on to that one. That's not a joke either.
Well,
So, and then I would say, you could just also give me a video or a link to a video of someone who has a similar voice that you're looking for. No. I'll just give you a written description, and it'll be the most vague, nebulous adjectives you've ever seen written on paper. And then since I can't narrow it down, that means I just have to find other ways to make them sound less like an idiot, because I can't tell them this was a stupid idea if you weren't going to take it seriously, and say very, very nebulous things, and just say, okay, what type of show is this? What type of game is this? What type of commercial? Blah, blah, blah. What is the setting and aesthetics? I'll sign whatever documents you need to just to tell me the basic information. The more you give me information, the better I can do for you. And then they'll tell me a little bit about it and say, okay, cool, you need a male or a female? Cool. Now, is there a set age bracket? Because if there's no set age bracket, I'm going to give you the 50 and unders, or 18 to 50, 18 to 50. That's my favorite age bracket, because if you talk to any of these other producers or anybody else, they'll always say some stupid stuff. Can you make sure, they look a certain way? Which is always code for, I want somebody who's pretty. I'm like, motherfucker, it's a voice. But no. In fact, I can tell you point blank, despite what, I don't know if she knows it or not.
Let me feel your wrist.
Yeah. Despite what she thinks or maybe doesn't know, and it's not her fault, she is talented, there's plenty of cases of people getting historic careers based off their looks, even though they're talented. For example, Tara Strong. Now, I got nothing against Tara Strong other than her playing the PETA game. Everyone knows by now to not take PETA seriously. But Tara Strong is an extremely, extremely talented individual. She's done a bunch of landmark roles and characters. But if you'll notice, she's very, very, very tight-knit in the voice acting community for certain networks, in particular, mostly Cartoon Network-related things. Now, I'm not speaking on any particular producer or director, but I know just from a networking event 5 times over, when the conversation wasn't even about her, she's gotten a lot of roles because, let's just say, some people like trying to figure out which is bigger, her head or the 2 on her chest.
All
It has
right.
nothing to do with her skill. Exactly. It has
So,
absolutely nothing to do with her skill. She's a good person, decent human being, and she's very talented. I hate when I have to tell these people, hey, listen, I'm not going to help you if everything you say to me is anything like that. But everybody thinks my job is so easy. No, sometimes I can lose entire network chains because I decided to have dignity and not work with people like that.
the views, the thoughts, and opinions expressed by our callers are their own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of relationshiping or the LaDonna Ray show. The
I mean, that
material
ain't
and
even my opinion.
the
That's what they told me to my face. And I told them, no, I'm
And
not going to work with you.
oh
you
wow.
know, and speaking about this business, you know, the arts and entertainment, I tell people I wouldn't wish this job on my worst enemy. I said it's
Hell no.
it to take on this profession, you have to have a thick skin. You just won't survive. You won't survive, and you have to be
Exactly.
able to communicate and talk with people and develop relationships and friends in this business. Um,
Preaching to the choir.
it's a must. You just have to do it. It's not that you can't like not want to do it. You have to be able to have the ability and the willingness to make friends and develop relationships. Uh, you can invest all the I've invest thousands of dollars in training and classes and workshops. I think I had an agent in New York, the Dorothy Palmer Agency, and she went and I was up for this role. They were auditioning Holly Berry and a couple other big names for it, and I was just I I wanted this role so bad. I used to go up and hang out and visit with the director because he said, "Man, he said whenever you in town, hit me up and we can go hang out."
Were you couch casting?
And no, no, and he
Okay.
was cool, the cool guy, And I would go to New York, twice a month just so I can hang out with him, and I would go visit my agent and talk to her, and and the beautiful thing about it was that she wanted me to get the role so bad. She sent me to work with this coach. I forget his name. It was something Gallagher. He's a big time coach. And it cost me 200 his coaching is $250 per hour. So I
That's
paid,
lawyer money.
man, it was two and I paid that $250 to work with him 1 hour. I worked with him twice. But I learned so much in that time of working with him. I can honestly say I probably got my $250 or slightly more than my $250 worth out of him because of the things that he had me do and the things he pointed out in my work on how I could improve. So what I'm saying is this. In this industry, you will spend thousands of dollars on coaching and training and networking parties and get-togethers and hanging out and drinking when you don't even drink and
Diddy parties.
trying to fit in and develop relationships. I'm not even a drinker, but I walk around with a glass. I would walk around with my drink for like 5 hours.
I'm sorry, Lorenzo. Are
Oh,
you
I'm,
are
I'm
you are
glad I'm
you
not the only person that
wait,
does
wait,
that.
Yes.
wait, excuse me. Are you
And
not laughing at my jokes?
I'm laughing on the inside.
But
But
no,
I
I need to
would
know.
walk
I need
around with a drink.
validation.
And
I
one of
need
the other things I would
validation.
do is I would even check this out. This too, Zax. I would walk around with like cranberry juice. Like if the night goes on, I would say, "Hey, you know what? Can I just give me some? Can I get cranberry juice or pineapple juice?" And people would think that was a drink, but it was the trying to fit in and connect.
Because here's the crazy part. Some people can get so many clients that are high profile, they will hire one or two assistants just to answer their phone or to handle some of the smaller deals. I've been that guy. You don't get those jobs off of an IMDb, off of a LinkedIn or Indeed. No, you literally just happen to be at a networking function and you bumped into somebody who introduced yourself. That's how tight knit everything is. So you are
It's
not wrong,
tight-knit.
sir.
It's tight. It's a tight knit. It's almost like a fraternity.
Yeah.
It is almost like a fraternity.
So, you guys have been watching the relationshiping show. We have lots of topics that are going to be coming up. We have talked about several things, including those that are should I say, in the arts where we're not properly, or should I say, prominently displayed in movies or film or television, and what have we done since then? It's still going on, people. And this particular episode, which is about lack of the understanding of what goes into the arts or creative and fun jobs, because it's like that one person that says it for that one final time, and you're like, that's it. That's it. I'm not talking to them about what I do, not one more again. But yeah, don't feel bad. Don't feel like they don't respect it. They just don't, well, they just don't respect it. They don't understand it. And it's not up to you to convince them. It's up to you to keep doing what you want to do and what's working for you so that you can continue in your passion. So, remember, we have a live phone number that's 312-357-5141. And that's only active during the show when it's live. Once it is recorded, you can listen to the comments. You can read the comments. You can listen to what was said on the phone. And Zax, we thank you so much for calling in.
Yes,
Which
sir.
it was so awesome to have you on here. Have you subscribed to the channel?
I didn't know this channel even existed.
Oh my goodness.
you
That
do?
means that our marketing person sucks.com. And that would be me. So if you don't mind, go to LaDonna Raeh Show. That's LaDonna Show. And go ahead and subscribe so that we can have at least one more subscriber because of all of you.
And look, I'm going to say this too. Continue to listen to the show. Being a writer, a storyteller is an amazing thing. I'm learning so much about storytelling in a way that a lot of us don't understand media and storytelling. And I want to
you get the very
introduce you
simile.
guys something. Yes, I want to introduce you all to something, but I want you all to become comfortable with my conversation because I can generate some discomfort, and I want us to start getting used to feeling uncomfortable and having uncomfortable conversations because like I said in the last show, for us to develop good relationships as a culture, as a community, and as a society, we have to become comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. So I would like for you to share the show, come on to the show, drop a few comments, even call in and become used to having conversations with us because there are some conversations that I do want to bring up that are entertaining and that are fun that we need to have fun having. We need to have fun having uncomfortable conversations because even in this industry, in the business, because I'm in the business, I love talking about it. I would like to bring my practices and my talents to the show and talk about how I got there, give you the backstory, and we can talk about the history behind these talents and these practices and whatnot. So we can figure out as a collective on how we can do better as a society, as a culture, and as friends that live amongst each other so that we can have fun having those conversations. So tune into the show, every week when we come on.
Yes, absolutely. So You've been watching the Relationshipping Show. I am your host, LaDonna Raeh, and
Hey, I'm the co-host, Lorenzo T. Hughes.
our lovely caller, Mr. Zax. Thank you so much for tuning in with us.
Thank you, Zax.
And all of you. So we've got Labnificent Media Group. Hello, hello, hello. We've got Dust for Tears. Yes, I got your email. Can't wait to talk to you further. We got Token Cast. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. And we will see you guys next time on Relationshipping. Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't be scared. All right. And we'll see you next time
Have a good night.
on Relationshipping.